The silence in this house is heavy. It has a weight to it, like a physical thing that sits on my chest and makes it hard to breathe. I am 73 years old now, and the silence is my primary companion. It's been 2 years since the funeral, 2 years since the last casserole dish was returned to the neighbors, and the condolences stopped arriving in the mail. I sit here in my armchair, the leather worn smooth by decades of sitting, and I look at the empty space where Eleanor used to be. 41 years, that is the number etched on the headstone, and the number people whispered with admiration at the wake. 41 years, they said. What a bedrock of a marriage, what a testament to commitment. And I nodded. I accepted their praise as if it were a medal I had earned. I thought that time was the only metric that mattered. I thought that simply enduring, simply staying put, was the definition of success. But sitting here now, with the clock ticking on the mantel, a sound that seems deafening in the quiet, I realize I was wrong. I was so terribly, catastrophically wrong. We were married for 41 years. Yes, we paid our taxes. We mowed the lawn. We kept the roof from leaking and the cars running. From the outside, we were the model of stability. But inside these walls, inside our hearts, we were hollow. I look at the photographs on the mantel. There we are at the beach, smiling but not touching. There we are at a Christmas party, standing next to each other but looking in different directions. I see it now. I see the space between us. It wasn't a chasm created by anger or betrayal. It was a slow, creeping distance that I allowed to grow because I was too busy being right. I was too busy being practical. I thought marriage was a contract of logistics, not a covenant of souls. And now, in this awakening of my old age, I realized that the stability I was so proud of was just a mask for stagnation. I missed the point. I missed her. And the tragedy is, she was right there the whole time, waiting for me to notice. It didn't happen all at once. That's the insidious thing about indifference. It creeps in on little cat feet. It started early on, in the roots of our life together. Eleanor was vivid. She had this way of looking at the world, always searching for the magic and the mundane. She would come to me, eyes bright, wanting to share something small, a passage from a book she was reading, a peculiar shape of a cloud, a dream she had about owning a small bakery. And I was the provider. I was the serious one. I would look up from my newspaper, or later, from the television screen, and I would give a half nod. I would say, "That's nice, Ellie," but I wouldn't look. Not really. I dismissed her bids for closeness as interruptions. I treated her attempts to connect as background noise to the real work of living, which I defined as paying bills, securing promotions, and maintaining order. I remember one evening vividly. She wanted to take a walk after dinner. It was autumn, her favorite season. She said the air smelled like wood smoke and old paper, and she wanted to walk through the neighborhood and just talk. And I said, "Not tonight, Ellie. I'm tired. Maybe later. There's always later." That was my mantra. Later. I thought time was an infinite resource. I thought that because we were married, because we had signed the papers, she would always be there, and the opportunity to connect would always be waiting on the shelf like a book I could pick up whenever I felt like it. I didn't understand that every time I turned away, every time I chose the television over her conversation, every time I chose sleep over sharing a moment, I was cutting a tiny thread. I was teaching her that her inner world didn't matter to me. I was teaching her that I was physically present, but emotionally absent. I thought I was a good husband because I never raised my voice and I never strayed, but I was starving her. I was starving us both, and I was too arrogant to see it. The turning point wasn't an explosion, it was a silence that solidified. Over the years, Eleanor stopped asking. She stopped tapping me on the shoulder to show me the sunset. She stopped suggesting the evening walks. She stopped trying to read me passages from her novels. And in my foolishness, I interpreted this silence as peace. I thought, finally, we have settled into a comfortable rhythm. I patted myself on the back for having such a low-maintenance marriage. We became roommates, efficient, polite, distant roommates. We moved around each other in the kitchen like planets in orbit, but never colliding, never touching. We had our routines. Tuesday was laundry. Friday was fish. Sunday was the drive to her sister's. It ran like a clock, ticking away the years, but the warmth was gone. The curiosity was dead. I didn't ask her what she was thinking. I didn't ask her what she feared or what she hoped for. And there was the Scotland trip. That damned Scotland trip. Since she was a girl, Eleanor had wanted to see the Scottish Highlands. She had brochures tucked away in her nightstand. She talked about the green hills and the grey sky. Every year, For our anniversary, she would mention it, and every year, I would say, it's not the right time. Ellie, it's too expensive right now. The roof needs fixing. The car needs tires. Let's wait until retirement. Let's wait until next year. I postponed her dream with the casual cruelty of a man who thinks he is immortal. I prioritized the safety of a savings account over the joy of my wife. I thought I was being responsible, but I was just being scared and rigid. And she adapted. That's what breaks my heart. Now she adapted to the loneliness. She learned to live without my emotional participation. She built a life inside her own head. A garden where I was not the gardener, but merely a statue standing in the corner. I thought we were content. I didn't know. I was living with a woman who had given up on being known by her own husband. Then came the echoes. The diagnosis, pancreatic cancer. It is a brutal, swift thief. It doesn't give you years, it gives you months, sometimes only weeks. Suddenly, the later I had banked on was gone. The infinite future collapsed into a terrifyingly finite present. The illness stripped away all the pretense. When you are dying, or watching someone you love die, there is no energy left for being polite or maintaining the status quo. We were forced into the intimacy I had avoided for decades. Sitting by her hospital bed, the air thick with antiseptic and fear, we finally talked. Really talked. She looked at me with those eyes that had seen 41 years of my back turned to her, and she said, "Arthur, we wasted so much time." She didn't say it with anger. She said it with a profound, aching sadness. "We were always right," she whispered. "We were always sensible, but we weren't close." She told me about the loneliness. She told me how she felt invisible in her own home. And then, she was gone. The silence rushed back in, louder than before. After the funeral, after the noise of the grieving crowd faded, I found her journal. It was in the bottom drawer of her bedside table, beneath the stack of unread travel brochures for Scotland. I opened it, my hands trembling. I shouldn't have read it, perhaps, but I did. And there, in her neat, looping handwriting, was the autopsy of our marriage. Page after page of her heart poured out onto paper because she couldn't pour it out to me. "Arthur is a good man," she wrote in an entry from 10 years ago. "But I am lonely. I am so lonely sitting right next to him. I try to tell him, but he doesn't hear. He listens, but he doesn't hear." Reading those words, it was like being gutted. I saw the Scotland brochures again, glossy and untouched. I realized that the tragedy wasn't that she died. The tragedy was that for years, while she was alive, I let her feel alone. And now, I am here, taking the final breath of this story, hoping that someone, somewhere, is listening to an old man's confession. I have learned, too late, the most important lesson of all. Relationships do not die from the big things. They rarely end because of the dramatic betrayals you see in movies. There was no affair. There was no screaming match. No plates were thrown. Our marriage died from 1,000 tiny cuts of indifference. It died from complacency. It died because I forgot that love is a verb, not a noun. It is an act of doing, not a state of being. You cannot just be married. You have to do marriage. You have to choose it every single day. I look at young couples now, walking hand in hand, staring at their phones instead of each other, and I want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them. I want to say, be curious, ask the question, put down the damn phone, look at her, look at him, listen to the small things, the dreams about bakeries, the observations about the clouds. Those aren't interruptions. Those are the lifeblood of your connection. If your partner wants to go to Scotland, go to Scotland. Go now. Don't worry about the roof. The roof can wait. The money can wait. But the person cannot wait. Time is the one thing you cannot earn back. Do not make the mistake I made. Do not prioritize being right or being stable over being connected. Do not let the person you love become a roommate. Nurture the closeness. Fight for it. Because one day, the chair across from you will be empty, and all the later you saved up will be worthless. All you will have is the silence, and the knowledge that you could have loved them better. Don't wait until the funeral to realize what you had. Love them now. Love them loudly, actively, and intentionally, before the silence comes for you, too.